even get through the last chat on
whatever.
YouTube.
Well, it is week number 3 for the CouncilCast for February 12th, and again, we'll be talking about games, tech, and bullshit, and whatever else we feel like talking about. And
I did get a
Pat's
BlackBerry
jumping
today.
into bed. So. So BlackBerry, you want to talk about BlackBerry, John?
No.
That's what John said he wants.
I got one today.
You got a BlackBerry today?
Yeah, for work.
A new one?
That sucks.
No, it's a Curve.
Oh,
They're
That sucks
fin-
even more.
They're getting rid of Blackberries, so there are like 3 people left on BlackBerry contracts.
In the world?
Probably.
BlackBerry as a company is going to go boom next month when the
Why?
contract runs out.
Why is
You
this
mean
watch
they're
so
gonna
expensive?
explode? Are you gonna blow them up?
That would be awesome.
So, in any case, we got some news going on this week. Since apparently John doesn't want to talk about BlackBerry, but we can talk about the Surface Pro that launched last week.
You can't buy them. It came up at work today. We, I told people that I was trying to get one, and they're sold out everywhere. But, I thought maybe they were creating artificial demand just with like a really limited release. But my boss seemed to think that the demand is actually that high, that there are so many business applications that
How are the reviews coming out?
Generally favorable. It's the battery life that kills it.
Yeah.
well, it's a laptop replacement though. That's kind
Yeah.
of where you might get some customer misconceptions that it's supposed to be a tablet when really it's kind of a laptop replacement.
Well, and that's one of the things that I think we could probably talk about is the marketing problem that Microsoft is having with it, especially since they've got both the Surface RT and the Surface Pro. How are they going to distinguish between the two, and how are they going to say this is not, are they actually saying this is a tablet, or are they saying that this is a laptop replacement?
Lucas can't take it. Who has the squeaky goddamn chair?
Oh, God.
It's awful.
Oh my god. No more moving! Don't move at all.
Damn, that'd be
John,
funny.
stop moving.
Sorry.
I couldn't take it because Lucas's face was just plastered on my screen with a shitty gif on there. Oh, sorry. Continue.
Sorry.
Surface Pro.
But yeah, in any case, do you guys see it as a laptop replacement, or is that what Microsoft is trying to say, or is it a tablet?
It's a laptop replacement.
The Pro is obviously a laptop replacement.
I feel like
One
that's a
thing, though, that came up-
misconception, though, with a lot of the general public.
It's because of the form factor of the device, though.
Right.
Yeah.
Because they look at it and they go, "Oh, look, tablet, Android, woo!" I mean, that's how they.
I don't think anybody says, "Oh, look, tablet, Android." I'm pretty sure it's, "Hey, look, tablet, iPad."
No one's going to spend $1,000 thinking that
Hold
thing's
on.
I don't know.
If someone picked it up and thought it was an iPad, they'd be an idiot. But I mean, it does look a lot like the Surface RT, which you could argue is actually strictly a tablet, not a laptop.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you wanted to buy an iPod,
This little picture of a flower goes up.
What is so funny?
apparently my flower is funny.
Oh, when you talk and it just switches to flower.
Yeah, the iPad 128 is with cellulars $930. That's you spend what? $120 more, and you've got a Surface Pro RT with a keyboard.
Yeah, but you don't have cellular built in right away, so you got to buy another dongle.
Okay, so
Well-
the 128 without cellular is $800.
Chuckling, Pat.
Flower. Kelly's over here laughing her ass off.
Well, but Dave, it doesn't even matter if it compares to the iPad, because if this is a laptop replacement, why are we comparing it to an iPad? You could compare it to more like a MacBook Air, which is $1,000.
Because whether they like it or not, anything close in price is what it's going to be compared to.
Which the MacBook Air is close in price
You just said, why are we comparing it?
to the iPad.
Because it's close in price.
And it's the same form factor.
We're comparing it because it's the same form factor, not because it's the same device. And I think you could argue it's not supposed to be compared to an iPad.
If I found a really expensive canoe that costs the same as a car, that doesn't mean we should compare them.
Right.
Good analogy.
Even though my canoe
That's
is
a golden
canoe. I was told I had to have an analogy.
I like the car analogy.
The argument you can make that it's not a laptop replacement is because it doesn't have like video out. Does it? You can't.
Yeah,
It does have video
Yeah.
out. It does.
What?
It
Yeah,
does
sure
have video
does.
out.
It's got mini DisplayPort.
The RT's
Can you
got
run
video
both
out.
screens? Can you run two different screens?
Yeah,
Yes.
it can support up to 2560 by 1600.
Oh,
You
okay.
can-
I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah,
So you
it's got
could
the
you could dock it.
Yeah, it's got the HD 4000 in it, which my laptop in the other room has. That I got from work.
Can we see it?
I mean,
Yes,
I think
it looks like a flower. I'll keep talking so you can see it. Is that a pretty laptop, Lucas?
Yes. It doesn't seem like you could do much work on it, though.
I mean, the thing is, when you do start comparing it to a laptop, though, it is more. It looks and acts more like a laptop. It has laptop internals. It's almost a MacBook Air, but it's in a much more compact and portable-friendly form factor. And that's why you'd want a Surface Pro.
And it's running Windows, which means businesses are falling head over heels for that type of device.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, for all intents and purposes, for most of the corporate world, OS X or iOS is worthless.
Correct. And, I mean, on top of that, I know that we kind of talked about the battery a little bit before, but even though the battery is only 4 hours long, in the corporate world, you're not going to be away from a power outlet for more than 4 hours.
You want to bet?
Unless you're
I
in
would
the
argue
field.
with that.
Yes.
Yeah, in the field, but you wouldn't buy a device. This isn't a field device.
Correct. The Surface is not. Something like the ThinkPad 2, maybe.
Right, but as the Surface, if you're going to be using it in an office, which I'm assuming is what Microsoft is aiming for, you're going to be going to what, your desk and a conference room. They both are going to have power in it.
Or a huddle, but you're not going to spend 4 hours doing that.
Right.
Not without power,
Exactly.
you aren't.
I mean, the laptops most people have at work right now can barely last 2 hours for a meeting we have already, so 4 hours would actually be significantly better.
And the price point's good. I mean, it's cheaper than a
What is the
laptop.
price?
It's
It
the
depends.
same as an Ultrabook, basically.
Yeah, it has ultra.
A little bit
pricing.
cheaper than a high-end Ultrabook.
And I mean, one of the other things that I kind of hit on here is, I don't know if you guys actually looked, there's a link in the notes that say Apple lies, which is actually a pretty good, interesting article. I think it was over, I don't remember who did it, but basically what it covers is everybody was having this big outcry about the 128 gigabyte and 64 gigabyte Surface Pros not having enough storage space because, you know, like a laptop, the OS and the firmware and everything has to sit on your internal drive somewhere. It doesn't just exist magically. And people were complaining that they only had, 90 gigs or whatever free. But this article, what it does a good job of is it actually compares it to the MacBook Air, which people have no problems with in a 128 gigabyte version. But it also has its OS and firmware and stuff stored on the drive, which leaves you, again, the article brings it up, it leaves you, it's about the same as the Surface Pro. So is that a big deal?
Being the same as the iPad was 128, so they actually have about the same amount of room, except that you're not installing full-scale applications on an iPad like you are a Surface Pro.
Well, iOS also doesn't take up as much space as a full OS does, though, too. So, I mean, it's kind of hard to compare the Surface Pro to an iPad in terms of storage space.
Right.
Just because the software is completely different. And you're right, you're not going to be installing full programs to it as well.
I thought the Apple lies part was how they're reporting hard drive sizes.
Well, that's also true. But Apple says that they're going to give you a certain amount of space in their computers, but you don't get that space because their operating system takes up just as much space as the Windows operating system does on Surface.
Doing, yeah. I didn't read the article.
You didn't read the article prior, so you don't know.
I did not. There's like 40 articles in here.
You didn't do your homework. Me either.
Yeah, I told you to do your homework.
You told us to do our homework today. We didn't
I
know
forgot
what
it.
was
I forgot it
assigned.
was Tuesday.
The article does have just some pretty graphs in it, and that's really all you need to look at anyway. One of the interesting things, though, about the Surface Pro in the storage space, though, is there is a recovery partition, but it does allow you to, there is a utility built into Windows 8 that allows you to offload that to a USB stick or some other external device, which allows you to reclaim about, I think they said about 8 gigs of space, which is pretty significant.
I'm kind of wondering why Microsoft doesn't allow you to download the OS like Apple does. Like with Apple, if you want to do a recovery and you don't have a disk or anything, you just hook it up, you boot it into its recovery mode, which is really a small section on the hard drive, and it just downloads the OS again. I mean, bandwidth really isn't a restriction for a lot of people anymore, and high-speed internet just gives you another easy option. I mean, we had Jerry doing that. He tried it like 3 times when his MacBook Pro was having issues.
Yeah, and how many times has it taken for him to reinstall the OS?
Well, that's because he's an idiot and didn't have a physical copy, because he said he didn't need one. They spent like 3 hours with Apple support. So,
Well, I mean, the OS X has a recovery partition as well that takes up a fair amount of space. Which, if you look at this, I don't know, it's estimated somewhere around probably 10 gigs as well.
but you can also get rid of that completely and re-download the OS from Apple directly.
Well, okay, so that is. I
Hey,
mean,
what are you velcroing?
You can.
Microwave, is that?
I have no idea what that is.
I heard it.
You can, in fact, download the entire operating system from Apple, but it still isn't going to get rid of your recovery partition unless you do a lot of not user-friendly things. And that's the difference. Is sure, you can do it on OS X, but the general user is not going to do it. Windows 8 at least allows you to, a fairly simple utility, of my understanding, to just plug in a USB drive and say go.
So why is there a big uproar about the Surface and about its usable space, whereas the MacBook Air is comparable usable space compared to what they advertise that it has?
Because some media outlet got on it. And
Is
then
it because
exploded.
Microsoft bad, Apple good?
Pretty much.
Pretty much.
Damn liberal media.
I would say it's between, you know, Apple being good and Microsoft being bad, but it's also, again, Microsoft's marketing problem. They're not marketing it as a laptop replacement. They're marketing it as a tablet that is also a laptop.
Is that a question?
Yeah, exactly. How is it? How is the Pro
From a
marketed?
marketing perspective, it's a new market segment. This really hasn't been done before. So they're marketing it as a new device, but I think you're getting at is they're not advertising it properly.
Yeah, their advertisements for it all seem about like just any other tablet. I mean, they don't go over the specs for it. They just have people flinging it around like a tablet.
But is that the RT version or the Pro? Because the RT version is the fling it around like a tablet version.
That's true.
They actually do that in the new Surface Pro commercial too, except in the Surface Pro commercial, they're all in an office doing it.
That's totally different.
That's the thing. I wonder if this is maybe they're thinking sales will be bigger for businesses. This will be a business tool much more than a personal toy.
Well, I think it is. It's almost to the point where it's being priced out of the average consumer range.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I think this will be what people have in their homes. I mean, I think tablets are kind of that in between, but people still either have a laptop or a desktop at their home. I think that in the future, when maybe the price of this type of device comes down or the quality gets a little bit better battery life, I think this will be the device people go to college with or have at their home. They won't have laptops or desktops anymore.
Well, and I think that's a good point. And maybe this Surface Pro, this version is supposed to be kind of, the initial launch is supposed to be focused kind of on the enterprise market, but Microsoft is also testing the waters to see how much consumer interest there is. And
Yeah.
I wouldn't doubt it if, they turn around in less than a year with the next version and they say, hey, look, we've improved battery life, we've improved this, we've improved that, and now we're ready to really focus this towards a consumer perspective and get those laptops out of your hands.
I think that's a good point.
And I could easily see them doing that. I think that would be a big boost for them. So, in any case,
Lucas, what are you doing?
Listening to a very loud noise from somebody's computer.
I think that was coming out of Pat's. But I guess talking about Microsoft yet, we can talk about how Dell goes private and how Microsoft dropped $2 billion to own a percentage of that. Does anyone care?
Not really.
Microsoft could write a check for that.
Other industries, they do like insurance and stuff like that now. They're not just solely we make computers, and they're more focused on the business sector anyway. I don't think they really care about consumer all that much.
Should people be afraid to buy a Dell computer then?
No. Were they
Like
afraid
tablet
before?
It's like all we have in our office.
Yeah, that's all we have. I think is Dell laptops.
Pretty much.
So why would Dell want to go private if Dell has such a good stand in the enterprise? And
Because they don't like to answer to shareholders.
Why wouldn't you want to answer?
The same reason Facebook would love to be private still.
Well, yeah, but Facebook is full of a bunch of dicks, and they don't care anyway.
Okay.
Why? But Dell's been public for how many years now? It's got to be quite some time.
I don't know.
Why would? What do they want to do that they cannot do as a public company?
I don't know. You tell me.
Well, that's why I'm asking you.
I have no idea. I don't know shit about Dell. I can take one apart.
Well, yes, but they have laptops, they have desktops, they have their enterprise, they have services. They've got that new flippy laptop, tablet half combo thing. What do they really want to do that they can't do? What would you like to see them do?
I don't know. I don't buy Dell machines.
What would you? It doesn't matter.
I don't want to see them do anything. I'm just not going to talk about it, I guess.
I think they want to get more into the managed services sector. The small, medium business will support you. You can use our hardware, or we'll sell you our hardware. Because, I mean, that's sector is getting really cheap to get into. Either that or cloud-based systems.
Isn't Dell already a we'll sell you our hardware business?
Who knows? I don't know anymore. They're a private company.
I don't think that being public or private has anything to do with their strategy for where they're going with sales or what they're making. I think it's somebody thought they could make more money by it being a private company than a public company.
Yeah.
Because why do you go public? You don't go public as a business strategy. You go public because you want to make money.
So if
I think
you go
someone saw
public
an
to make
opportunity
money,
where they think Dell has a lot of potential or value in maybe a certain market or industry, and they're going to go after that. And I think that they thought we can make a lot of money if we own it all, rather than it being, having to answer to shareholders or something like that.
Microsoft gave them $2 billion to do it.
does that mean they're going to make the next Surface Pro then?
They could
And then
be
there's some deal between them.
They could very easily be the manufacturer of the Surface line of all Microsoft hardware going forward. I mean,
Kind of like the Nexus line with Google then.
yeah. I mean, they've said they wanted to make the Surface a line of products and not just stop at the tablet.
Isn't that a turnaround though from what they were saying 4 months ago? Oh well, this is just our, we're just jump starting our resellers here. The people that put the OSs on their product. We're just getting that started.
Well, I do think there's some point. I mean, Microsoft has kind of said all along that the Surface, as much of a consumer device or as much as they want it to succeed, I think they really want it to be kind of the device to prove to other manufacturers that this is what we can do with Windows and Windows 8. So maybe if they have Dell on board as well and they get Dell branded stuff or something like that.
I mean, and Google has their Nexus phones, and there's still plenty of other people selling great phones. Like Samsung's got their Galaxy S series that outsells the Nexus by and large. I mean, they could make the Surface as a baseline. This is how we envision it, and you guys can do whatever the hell you want to it and make it better. And that's pretty much how the Android market has gone so far.
Right, but they'll actually work with making kind of the device that they want, or they want people to start with.
I want to hear Lucas talk about the Xbox and what he thinks about the used games not going to happen.
I just saw that. They're dead to me already, but that was seeing that kind of stuff is even worse. If there was even a chance, I wouldn't buy a new console.
But see, I feel hypocritical arguing about it because
So do I.
as a PC gamer, we can't do that. But as soon as the consoles do it, I'm like, oh!
It's because almost all I buy for consoles are used games.
Yeah.
Well, and we can buy games at used games prices 4 months after they come out anyway on the
But
PC.
only on Steam. But according to EA and Activision, they don't want to sell their stuff cheaper. Or Blizzard, same story.
Lowers
Well, they don't want to sell it, but they do.
Yeah, I mean that's supply and demand.
They wouldn't
look
do it
at
if
the
it didn't
sales.
make the money.
Yeah.
When you look at a Steam sale, I don't know. I just feel like
Matt, how much did you
That's-
spend on the last Steam sale?
Shut up, Dave.
But I guess, I'm more concerned with what's going to happen to not that I care, but retail outlets like GameStop. I mean, I hate those places.
They just announced they were closing hundreds of stores.
well, and I wonder. I mean, is this a play that Microsoft is doing with lots of the big name game producers to shut down GameStop and use sales? I mean,
Because the
they
profits.
hate that kind of
Yeah.
stuff, and they don't see any of it. And they were already pushing for it on Xbox. They were. You had to register certain games, or you could, you're getting benefits by buying a brand new one instead of a used one. They were doing
Usually
anything they could.
it revolves around the multiplayer. You can't play multiplayer if you buy a used copy a lot of the time.
Right.
But I also think that's the way they're. I mean, look at gaming, especially on Xbox and then consoles. It's focused on multiplayer now. That's where the money is.
But
I have no issue with it. Like you guys said, I mean, that's kind of how PC is. Like, if you buy a multiplayer game and you register that key with your online account, then that's just yours, period. It's your account.
But here's the thing, we didn't used to have accounts. With dedicated servers, you could just buy the game, install the bitch up, and log on to the server.
The thing I don't really understand here is that, the companies hate consoles because you have this used game market. But at the same time, they seem to hate PC too.
They don't want to go to PC and make a PC game. They want to make a console game, but they don't want
The
any
resale.
used copies out there.
Yeah, I don't know. It just feels like they're like, oh yeah, we should praise PC because they don't have used copies. Well, then why don't you
It's
craft
pirating.
games for it?
I mean, used game equals basically pirating on PC.
Right.
Which, it drives me nuts, this logic. Like, okay, when the car manufacturers finally figure out that they can put a serial number on my car, and I gotta tattoo it on my ass cheek or something, and then I can't sell my car used, that's gonna be a big fucking day.
But that's just it. I mean, look, they cut that out with digital sales, which I don't necessarily think they have to. You could still give out a serial number and you could uninstall your old games and reinstall them on some other computer. And
right, you do
I'm not necessarily saying pirate it. If you get rid of the one copy on your computer and deactivate it, I can give it to Matt and he can install it on his computer.
There's authorization systems that do that, and I can't remember one that does now. But like basically, you just
do it with Adobe products.
Yeah, you just deregister that key off of that machine, and then that key is available to be used wherever now.
Right. I mean, the technology already exists. They're just unwilling to mess with it.
Well, no, because they want to sell every new copy they can.
Absolutely.
Obviously. And it's understandable. Why wouldn't you want to sell every new copy you can?
Well, the difference between the PC and the console is that as a console-used game, the publisher isn't getting any money of that. Whereas, sure, on the PC you can buy new games at used game prices, but part of that cost still goes back to the publisher.
Yeah.
So maybe they'll start selling games cheaper. I don't know.
No, they won't.
You're right. They're gonna raise the prices by $10. It'll be $70 a game.
Oh yeah,
and you won't be able to. You get a used one. So.
You better believe it, Blaine. 10 years from now, we'll be paying $70 a game.
10 years? I'd say less than that.
Or less. Yeah.
I don't think it'll be that long.
10 years? I bet you're paying $100 a game.
I think it depends on what happens with like the new generation of consoles and.
Well, see, and I don't necessarily. I guess I was kind of moving on there. Being installed on the hard drive, I don't see a problem with that. I mean, the games run better when they're installed. They're a little bit faster than accessing them off the disk. What are we talking? I guess I haven't even looked at it because I don't care enough. What are we talking for hard drive sizes?
The base rumor has it that the base new Xbox is going to have a 500 gig drive, which should be enough to install most games, I would assume.
Yeah.
See,
are they going to start?
Go ahead, Matt.
I was just going to say, are they going to start pushing new games on Blu-ray, and those things are going to be 25 gigs a piece?
They are. Oh, well, I thought that's what they were going to, was Blu-ray.
All right.
Well,
I think that's what it would be. I don't know what the hell else you'd put in it.
Well, could more and more consoles start? Are they going to start going to more digital stores though, like the PC is?
They could. They already do kind of with Xbox Live.
I feel like that would be suicide though for Xbox because you have to have a live account to do any of that. Although that's not necessarily true because you can that's the one thing you can do with your Silver account is get to their store.
Well, what if getting to the store was free, but you still had to pay for games and access?
But that's what I'm saying. That's what Silver is free, and the only thing you can do with it is access their store.
Yeah,
that's literally the only thing you can do with an Xbox Live account. That's Silver.
Well, and I could see them doing that.
Mine is up in March. And I made sure to uncheck the auto renew, and my card expired, and they updated the new date without me doing it. Like, I kind of figured once the new date, when it died, they would be able to access it, but they changed the date on it, or I entered the wrong one a long time ago. I don't know.
So no one really cares that. No one's going to be buying a new Xbox.
Well, it depends.
Let's talk price point now. They're going to bump all these new features, and that's going to do what?
Well, it's gonna cost just like the brand new consoles did. Shit, the PlayStation 3 was what, $600 or $700 when it came out.
That was largely because of the Blu-ray.
Yeah.
What is a Wii U right now? What, $400?
Yeah, I don't think that's what the newer bigger hard drive Xboxes were. I don't think they're gonna. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they will be $400. But
if the Wii U, which is supposed to be the baby of the console and is lesser than everybody else, is going to be $400, I can easily see the 360 or whatever the successor is being $500 or more.
The base Wii is $300. The larger one is $350.
Well, then, yeah.
Rumors are saying that the PS4 will not be any cheaper than $400.
And I believe that.
Going back to what we were talking about on the hard drives, one of the things that a lot of the guys talked about when the first Xbox came out was that Xbox would never do a hard drive again because they were modded so hard. And so if you go to a massive hard drive again, 500, a terabyte, a couple terabytes on there, I mean, you're running the same risk of getting
not have one
Xboxes. What's that?
I don't think you can not have one. Like, it's a requirement now that you have it.
Well,
So,
but that's what they did with the Xbox 360. How big is yours, Lucas? 20 gig?
250.
Oh, it is 250. Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
I thought they were.
Well,
smaller.
but I got rid of my old 25 and I bought like the slimmer model.
Okay.
Maybe they're gonna. Maybe the thing with the hard drives is they'll make them harder to access though now versus the 360, which you could just pop off and plug into any old computer pretty much.
I used to have a modded Xbox. I loved it to death.
The original Xbox, where you could put as many games as you want on the 20 gig drive.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
No.
We
We swapped out the drive. We swapped out the drive to a 250.
Oh, you did?
Oh yeah. I had like 30 games, every emulator. I mean, Pat, you were there. I think I still had it modded, or Muggsy's was modded too.
yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't really do that as much with the new one. You can still mod them, but you can't load the full playable games onto the hard drives.
Yeah, they put more
Security
on the discs
and
or the software.
And I mean that's what they're going for now is having always-on authentication. So you can't to make it even harder.
So does that mean? I mean, my brother doesn't have internet. Does that mean he literally couldn't play?
Was he a caveman?
He lives at home with Ma, and there's no internet access out there really to speak of.
It could be a very real possibility that he could not play.
And again, we've had this conversation how many times, and they just don't give a shit,
Well, it's the same thing
right.
that they're cutting off that market. They don't care.
Same thing happened with Diablo 3. I brought that up too. How are you supposed to play if you have no internet?
Right. That's what I was thinking of is that conversation.
I feel like developers and publishers more than anything are just taking the worst parts that everybody hates. Always on DRM, no used games. It's like they're taking the worst parts of each piece and moving forward with that. Let's move forward with the worst parts.
Take developers out of that, John.
I said it's publishers.
It's not the developers.
Yeah,
it's only making their life more difficult.
Oh, of course. Yeah. So it's like they take the worst parts and they're like, everybody hates this, but sooner or later they'll just be okay with it.
Well, right, of course, because they either they buy our playthings or they don't buy anything at all, and we know they're not going to choose don't buy anything at all.
Yeah. Have my ball, or I'll take my ball and go home.
Well, talking about the worst part of things, supposedly Apple is going to be making a watch now.
Put that on the list of more Apple products I won't buy.
Are they going to shrink Siri down and put her in there? Will it be as good as Apple Maps and tell you the wrong time?
I mean, people are already doing it with the old Nanos, and you could buy an enclosure and get a clock app that goes on them, and it was just a watch right there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Okay, if you could get this to work like with Bluetooth, and you have those Google glasses that play the audio like through your bones,
Bone conduction.
that'd be actually pretty sweet.
How's it going to play it through my wrist up to my head bone?
Bluetooth to the glasses.
Oh, I see. I got you.
Yeah,
Is
see,
that
that's
literally
what I'm
all they're
more
going to do
interested
with it, though? Is there just, if it's just a rumor, whatever, but I don't really care enough.
I guess what's the point? Why would Apple want to make a watch?
Will there be lines
people will
waiting
buy
for the
it.
Apple Watch?
That's what I was gonna say. That's what I'm trying to envision. I'm trying to like.
Will there be people in line checking their regular watches to see what time it is, waiting for the Apple Watch?
No, they'll be checking their iPhone because nobody wears a watch anymore.
I have
Yeah.
a watch on,
I
Dave.
wear a watch.
Yes, I know you do.
I wear
They'll
a watch
start
when
wearing
I'm
a watch.
fancy.
This is what I'm wondering. Will it interface with your iPhone? Like, so I don't have to
Oh, of
take
course it
Oh,
will.
got to.
It'll
Can I
only
read my
work with
text
your
message?
iPhone.
It'll only
I was gonna say, what is it gonna do? All I can think of is like a phone or a tablet or something that's gonna be tiny, and I don't see any use for it. I mean,
I don't see
to get any,
reason
it's
for it to be
gonna
an
have to be a
iPhone.
watch. That's it.
Yeah.
Dude, they already
Yeah.
make watches that'll tell you who's calling through Bluetooth and like send your text message to the thing. Like Apple's ripping them off, man.
Well, I mentioned
Somebody's gonna get
Pebble Watch
sued.
in there because Pebble Watch is doing the same thing. They got a watch that shows you your notifications. You know,
Mhm. I
Well,
don't
Apple's
here's what
really
I
good
think
at
that's
copying
exactly
people.
what it is.
I mean, like if I was a super sleuth, maybe I could read my texts on my watch, so no one knew I was checking my phone or something. But
Well, here's what I don't. This is one thing that maybe I could see them going is that phones are getting so much larger, where people who just all they want to do is get their clock, talk on the phone, send a text message. That's it. They don't need the surfing. They don't need the 3G. Why is there no market for those? And that would be a place to take the watch.
Who's
So
breathing
they
hard?
just want a clock. They just want a phone. That's it. They don't want all the.
Anthony, for Christ's sake, stop making so much goddamn noise.
I don't want to know what he's doing.
Someone is running a marathon.
that didn't sound pleasant.
Well, that's a good point, John. Although I would take it a step and saying with phones getting so much bigger, is it almost necessary to have a secondary smaller device to be
Yeah.
checking your bigger phone with?
But
I
that's
don't have my
exactly
phone
what
up
that's
here, but yeah.
exactly what's going to happen. Is we're going to go backwards. We're going to take a step backwards. Everybody had a watch, and then all of a sudden everybody had their phone, and nobody had a watch anymore. And now we're back to I have a watch to check what time it is. I
And-
don't have to take out my phone.
And don't think for a second that Steve Jobs isn't running this all from his goddamn brain. You know Apple pushed this market, and Steve Jobs was in a meeting somewhere saying, all right, look at this graph. This is where the public is finally going to say, this is too much. We need a watch.
Well, actually, Steve Jobs was probably wearing the watch, and it said you're dead, and he said, "Oh, whoops, I should go lay down." now."
I see Steve Jobs as like Mr. House. He's in a stasis pod somewhere. He talks to his people through
robots.
televisions, through robots.
Yep.
Oh.
I mean, I don't know. I like the idea of having a watch that could interface with your phone, but I really don't see the point because
What
there's such
aspects of it do
limited-
you like?
I
What-
could see
What function do you want out of a watch that talks to your phone?
if the phone is in your pocket and you get a text message or an email and you can't pull it out or you don't want to pull it out. We do live in the great Midwest where it is cold all the time. Maybe you don't want to take your gloves off to look at your phone.
They make
What
gloves for that one-
good is it gonna do though? You're gonna
But
look at it
that's
and
the
say,
problem.
"Oh, I can't text this person back because I can't do shit with this watch."
Well,
Oh, what if you
exactly.
can-
That's why I
what
don't
if-
see the point.
What if you can, like, if you're listening to your music on your phone and you're using your watch to say next song or whatever, rather than having to pull it out, turn the phone on, unlock it, do
But
it.
how am I listening to the music on my phone through just headphones that are plugged
headphones,
into it?
Bluetooth?
You say headphones,
Yeah.
Bluetooth. Yeah,
All
that
that
doesn't
stuff-
matter. That's already exists. This is
Yeah.
I'm gonna buy a watch, a several $100 watch,
So you can skip
to
songs.
control my music.
Wow.
It's just a glorified.
I mean, most headphones, Bluetooth and wired nowadays, have the built-in controls in the headphones already. So, I mean, it's a good idea, but it's really not needed.
One thing I would buy a watch that was my phone. Like the phone components are in my watch, but it also acts as, of course, as a watch. And then went to a Bluetooth headpiece and could do speech to text, and that's it. But I
So
would
now you have three pieces. You have a phone in your pocket, a watch
No,
on your arm,
no
and
phone.
a Bluetooth headset.
no phone.
There's
Your
just
phone
one-
is the watch.
No way,
One
dude.
problem.
I don't want a
No
Bluetooth
way.
headset. I want to talk to my watch.
There's one problem with that. There's no data package to sell along with it.
Yeah, that's just
And
it.
that
See,
data
I want the
packages are where the
simpler.
money's at.
Yeah, nobody wants to go simpler anymore. Everybody wants to push the phone to be your whole thing.
Your
And everything is on your phone. Whereas I just want my phone to call people and to send a text message and maybe tell me the time. Is that so bad?
Well, maybe this is the first step to wrist communicators.
Go gadget.
Get a little screen
No.
on it.
No, I gotta call you back in 5 minutes. My arm is tired.
That's no different than holding the phone up there for a while. You know, you just hold it here instead.
Well, but the problem is it'd be like you're on speakerphone all the time, so everybody can hear your conversations. That's
Two
Right, you just
watches,
get the headphone.
two watches, man.
You put one on this side and put it to your ear. And
No,
You just get an
no,
elbow.
that's
talk to
fine.
the elbow.
You just get an implant.
It's
Implant
the
in
new,
your ear.
it's the new flip watch. It flips up, and then you can. And there's a piece that comes out.
It's
I think
a
BlackBerry announced that.
You wear the
there's a retractable headphone or something.
No, we should
That's
all
going
wear
to be BlackBerry's next move.
masks, and then you just talk into it.
Why don't you just wear
We need to
motorcycle
change the name.
helmets with...
We need to change the name of this podcast to "Your Product Sucks."
That could be the subtitle for this
that
week.
would be the title there. The podcast title.
You release it, we'll bash it.
bagging on your stupid ideas.
Oh. But half of you are going to buy it. So.
No, only
Matt
Joel
will,
is gonna
Matt
buy
will,
it.
because Matt buys everything.
That will.
I won't be in line.
Matt'll be guilty.
He'll buy
Jerry
it the
will
next
have
morning.
5 of them.
If it's an Apple product, we can get Jerry to come on and review it.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
could.
It's true. He'll have 5 of them anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Are we gonna cover Matt's purchase of the week? Because I really I want to know what the fuck hypoallergenic stainless steel is.
Oh, that's not why I bought it.
No,
Alright.
that's fine. I did notice that
I
on
bought
the
it because
specs,
it was $50.
and
Show off this watch. Dave should show it on his screen since
I
he has
don't really. I mean, it's just it's a watch. It's functional.
Wrist like.
Yeah.
well, as long as I know that you
$50?
paid $50 instead of the marketed $145 on it, then
Is it a slap watch? Is
I
it a
don't
slap watch?
Because I had a coupon.
There is
If
the
it's on
watch
a
right
slap
here.
watch,
You got
I'm
coops?
not-
Josh Chadwick.
And it's the Benedict Cumberbatch watch.
Why is it the Benedict?
Because it's I don't know.
I don't know that I
I
love
forgot his
like
name.
the old man band on it.
It's not really that bad
band?
actually.
The
The
old man.
Elastic.
Dave make more noise than everyone else, so we can see
It's
your
the elastic band. Is that what you're talking
No,
about?
it's not elastic at all.
No, it's not elastic.
It looks like it though.
La,
It's
la, la,
woven
la,
metal,
la,
isn't
la,
it?
La, 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 la.
Thank you, Dave.
It's
You know
almost
you can click on his picture and it'll
Yeah.
bring it up.
Yeah.
Well, but I don't know how to make it the center focus for the.
Click on the
for
picture.
Yeah, click on
not,
his picture.
Not for me. The podcast
I
doesn't
think
focus on
Blaine
what
can
I
do
do.
it.
Oh, I see.
I
see.
don't know how to do it.
Wait,
Wait,
Lucas, are you
oh,
expecting
dang it,
people
Brian.
to actually watch this that we don't know?
No,
I don't know.
absolutely not.
Cameraman.
Yes. We expect 100 viewers by next
We
week.
did.
Yeah.
Haven't we had one viewer for each video? I'm just saying.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was me.
It's like chainmail for your watch.
Speaking of chainmail,
Our
Speaking of
chivalry.
chainmail.
After this?
Speaking of chainmail, chivalry. So what do you guys want to say about chivalry? I haven't played it in
I
No,
wanna
I
play
just want
chivalry.
to. I just want to
Third
play it after this.
person breaks the fucking game. Third
What?
person breaks it.
Oh.
Are we still playing the beta?
No.
No, the beta was pushed. It's now not
Yeah.
beta anymore.
Oh.
Is it pre-alpha again?
I take
it's post.
serious issue, and I know you can filter the servers by first person only, which I'm gonna start doing now. But I have a serious problem.
Wait, do they have forced third person now?
No,
On
you
some
have it's
servers.
an option.
First person,
Really?
yeah. So I hate. I mean, it takes away completely valid mechanics. Like you can't sneak up on anybody. You can't flank when they're in third person.
Yeah,
because-
why is that even an option?
Because I
Consoles.
have no idea.
Consoles.
What did Dave?
I
What
always blame the consoles.
consoles?
The console
Chivalry.
players don't know how to play in first person.
I don't. I have no idea why. why there's a third person.
I'm drunk. So you just look like that.
Anthony says
like-
like 10 words all hour. And then he goes, I'm drunk.
So that just looked like.
No, the problem third person sucks because you're chasing someone and it's like all of a sudden someone just turns around and bam, right in the face, you're dead.
Like half my deaths are from getting attacked, and I didn't know somebody was
Half
there.
your deaths are because you suck.
No, that's the other half, Dave. That's half. That's what half means.
Lucas, you should probably talk about space or asteroid mining since that's your topic.
I have no.
And you
idea.
fell asleep last week, so
I was real tired and I got kind of drunk, so I don't know.
See?
I was just looking at it. It was interesting. It looks like an interesting venture.
so if an asteroid full of snakes were to head towards the Earth,
Then we would need Samuel L. Willis. I feel like the article I read it said something about sending Bruce Willis after it.
If we have an asteroid come through that we decide to mine and it's not Bruce Willis going after it, I'm a little disappointed.
Then we couldn't have any more Die Hard movies.
I don't even remember. It's been so long since I posted it.
What were the name of the ships on Armageddon? The name of their shuttles?
Nina, Penta, and Santa Maria.
No,
I
you
believe.
jackass.
These ones are going to be fireflies. I liked that, though.
It's the freedom and the independence.
There you
yeah,
go.
there you go.
We'd have to
Did
name
you
it
look that
one
up, or
of
did
those.
you know that?
Name it the one that
I knew it, Lucas. Sadly, I knew it.
Yeah, you love Ben
I'm
Affleck, don't
surprised
you?
Matt didn't know it. He
So
loves that
dreamy.
movie.
I do love that movie. I love it almost more than The Core.
Where they are trying to get unobtainium.
No, that's
What's
Avatar.
Avatar? Pocahontas in space.
What, Pat?
We
Space.
talking movies?
Yeah,
Really? I think we
Not really.
that.
yeah.
I think
That,
we've
that let's
slipped.
talk about Oblivion.
I think we've slipped into the bullshit section.
I thought
so
he
you can
wanted
talk
to
about
go
whatever
to
you
the
want.
White House down. I think that's what.
Oh,
No, I wanna
wanna
see
That's
the
that's
other
happening
one.
right now. Obama's giving the White House down address.
Oh, that's dead. Sorry, did we talk about that last time?
No, we didn't talk about that at all.
How did I know nothing about this dude that was running from the LA police?
Are you serious?
What?
I knew nothing.
How did
I
you
got
guys
home
not know
and it
this?
said, "What is this?"
You live on
Are
the
you not-
internet, and you don't know.
I did not know.
You don't know about real news.
No.
Yeah.
Did
Okay.
you?
I'm impressed as long as he made it, but he is military trained.
Is he down now?
They
Did
burned
they-
down the cabin they thought he was in. They were like, "Set it on fire!"
That's the general. Is that the new tactic that
They
we're
don't need
using
no
now?
water.
Yeah, it's not like it was going to end well. I don't even know why they were even going through negotiations at that point, other than there
Did
was
they
a
really
scare
burn
of
him?
hostage.
Did they really burn him out of the cabin? That's how this ended?
Yes.
That's the only part I didn't know we were
That's
done.
news.
I
to
don't
me.
know that it was intentional.
That was Tywin Lannister shit right there.
From what I,
I'm so sorry we let you on fire.
yeah, from what I could from what I could read, it was like, oh, the tear gas, it burned it.
Yeah, exactly. The people
Yeah.
who are in charge of
Tear gas
making the
burned it?
reports are
Yeah.
also the people who set the house on fire.
Somebody smoked
Yeah,
a
that was
cigarette.
totally an
Oh,
accident.
cocktail.
Actually, I think he started the fire himself. I'm almost sure of it.
Yeah.
He
Well,
was smoking a cigarette.
it wasn't going to end well. He killed how many cops? You know, the cops want to kill him. He wants to kill the cops. It's not going to end well. You're going to get shot.
But
You're gonna have a cabin burned down.
Oh,
Yeah,
so, somebody on Reddit was like, "Oh, make sure everybody knows that they're setting this thing on fire. They're not going through the normal process. They're like, I want everybody to know this." And somebody responded to him saying, something like defending the cops maneuver, and the guy goes, "Well, that's what they're getting paid to do. They're getting paid to chase." No, motherfucker. Like, if you're getting mugged and there's a guy waving a gun around, the cop doesn't have to do anything. Like, if he's afraid that he's gonna get shot in the face,
He'll let you get mugged.
Yeah.
I don't know that you're cop material if you let them get mugged.
Yeah, but he's still supposed to have a good chance of due
The only
process.
reason they didn't, the only reason they didn't break that door down and start shooting was that there was a hostage possible. I think that's
Wait,
the only thing.
they burned it
So you
down.
burned it down to make sure no one got out? We can't have any
We
witnesses
call
to
it,
this.
we call
Kill the
that
hostage.
plausible deniability.
Wow, we are really gonna get shut down this week.
I don't give a shit.
I'm just trying to think. I'm trying to think of another hostage standoff where they're just like, screw it, let's just.
Well, the
murder 'em.
Russians screwed up their tear gas with what was that? Some type of light nerve agent. Remember that? That was what?
I bet that was fun.
That was about what, 5 years ago? They gassed a movie theater full of people. There was a hostage situation. Look it up. I can't remember what. It's been a while, but they were firing what they thought was tear gas in there, but it ended up being a toxic gas, and it ended up killing like.
What?
Yeah.
Only
You
in
don't remember
Russia.
that? Oh, I have to.
That was.
Only
I was
in
gonna say
Russia.
that. Now we get to be compared to Russia.
That's like
Hey, look, they're all sleeping.
just down at the LAPD. They keep the nerve gas next to the tear gas.
Which one does this look like?
This is
Who switched the labels again?
This is a smoke grenade, right? Not a regular one.
Wow.
Throw it into the
Like a
crowd.
pineapple.
The one with the skull and crossbones is good, right?
Wow.
Captain, we'll smoke them out.
We're gonna have
They're
6
dead.
viewers from Russia next week.
So, Pat,
Yeah,
did you
if
want to
you
talk
wanna-
about the Vivian?
Hold on. If you want to check it, it's in the wiki. It's called Moscow Theater Hostage Crisis.
Post a link.
Okay. No, I'm on the wrong computer.
Doesn't matter.
How do I?
How do I computer?
If you had
Yeah.
Bluetooth.
It's not going. Drag it across.
Do
the
not
Put
have
your webcam in the link. I'll try to poke it on the.
I'll do it. You know I'll do it. Here we go.
Oh man, no, you didn't. Now everybody make a bunch of noise so it's not his.
I don't even know what it
I
says.
can't see it.
God, your internet's so shitty we can't even read it.
Oh.
The entire link was 4 pixels.
I think there were 3 words.
What begins with the letter B?
According to the reports, it was a aerosol anesthetic, weaponized fentanyl, whatever it is. Anyways, it put a bunch of people down, and they ended up dying.
Wow.
That's bad. What year was this?
2002.
It's a minor mistake there.
It's Russia. They're fine.
Yeah.
So anyway, Oblivion, Bat. Speaking of dead people.
Well, first I wanted to talk about side effects because this movie
All
is
right.
really good. It's kind of it's one of those movies where the plot really is nothing special. What makes it good is how the story is told, from what perspective. I really liked it. I thought it was really.
John, are you typing?
Real loud.
I do really want to see Oblivion though too, because I think it kind of has like a Half-Life feel to it a little bit.
Oblivion looks really good.
I don't know. I'm always skeptical about Tom Cruise.
As crazy as I think he is most of the time, I think he's a decent actor.
I mean, I loved Ghost Protocol, the new Mission Impossible, but I don't know. Oblivion just looks.
I think it looks great.
I didn't really look into anything about Oblivion. I'm not really sure I know what it's about. Something about him going to another planet and killing people?
No, I think he stays on Earth. Like Earth is invaded and the humans win, but Earth is destroyed. So, like most of the people have to evacuate, and
Yeah,
some stay behind.
It's
gonna
like
say,
a
it
cleanup
would-
crew.
Yeah, I thought they were just monitoring Earth. There was like a couple people that did flybys and kind of monitored the situation, and he's one of them that stays behind to do that because they made it look like it was his last term. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he was getting ready to be able to go back home.
And then boom, Morgan Freeman.
Morgan Freeman.
And boom, things aren't what they seem. That's what the trailer makes it like, anyway.
It's got good
Also,
potential.
Pacific Rim. Holy crap! Move over, Transformers.
Looks so bad, it's going to be awesome.
No, it's gonna be awesome. Big
I
fighting
think it looks
robot
really good.
things and monsters from the sea.
I don't think I've seen a trailer for that one.
What?
That's like the robots versus aliens or something.
There's a legitimate rocket punch.
Yep.
Falcon Punch.
Falcon? I was saying, is
No,
it
this is
Rocket or Falcon?
This is better than Falcon Punch.
There's not much better than Falcon Punch.
Falcon Punch. Is pretty much
I'd
the
wait
best.
to watch it until after we're done.
Okay.
All right.
It's pulled
Actually, can you
up.
play it through the YouTube thing? I don't even
Oh,
know.
we talked about this before. We can't actually do that.
Oh.
Why not?
There's got to be a way to do it.
Not you can do it in a hangout, but not when you're doing the on-air thing.
Why can't you just make the focus on the YouTube thing? I think you control the focus. You just don't know how.
Probably
I
do
bet you
it
could
if
do
somebody
it.
was screen sharing and then they were to share it. But the problem is you don't have the licensing to actually do YouTube videos.
Let's have John do it at 2 FPS.
We'll never be able to see it then.
Yeah. What else we got?
But it's 10 o'clock.
There are some boobs. John wanted to talk about boobs.
Any ones in particular? Katy Perry at the Grammys?
I don't know. I didn't watch it, so.
Did
Can't
anybody
comment.
did anybody see the one where they compared the Asian girl who wore it at like some golden dragon, whatever,
No.
and then they
Nobody
compared
saw
Katy
it.
Perry? Somebody said, "Well, it looks like Katy Perry wore it breast."
What?
What?
Who wears it better? Best being the
Oh, okay.
Who wore it
superlative.
breast?
Is that the right word that I'm looking for?
There was wordplay, Matt.
Don't
You
worry,
see,
I got-
you-
I
they
got it.
switched
I get it
breast
now.
with breast
The other
because
5
she has
people
big
didn't get
boobs.
it, but
Yeah.
Wow.
I did.
I got it. It was just a really shitty joke.
Dave, you
I'm leaving.
Oh, I see. I looked it up. But I don't know. We got a few other things. Post office is going to be shutting down Saturday service, I guess.
Do I
Else
care?
this time? I feel like they talked about that for a while.
Yeah, I've heard that before.
There's been talks about it, but now it's kind of official. They're going to stop delivering mail, only mail on Saturday, but it sounds like they'll still do their package delivery.
And priority mail. It's just first class that's stopping.
Canada doesn't deliver mail on Saturdays.
So my question about this, though, is if the mail is not being delivered, is it still being moved, though?
I believe so, yes.
Okay.
You just don't have to employ the lots of delivery people
Yep.
on Saturday.
Gotcha.
Rachel's brother actually works for the post office, and he is getting cut because of this, actually.
Really?
Yep.
They've been trying a lot of things to try to cut costs, and
Yeah.
I would like to see a lot more rural towns just move to a PO box only system. I mean, like Belle Plaine, we have 3,000 people, and then you've got another 1,000 people in rural areas. They just need to switch those people to PO boxes. I really don't see a problem with it.
Well, I have no
'Cause you
problem
don't
with that.
live there.
I really don't want the postal service
No,
to
for
go
me,
away
myself,
in general.
Hey, why don't they just take more money?
They are. Postage prices are going up, so. I mean, the problem is if you get rid of the post service, you have to have some sort of postal service in general. So who are they going to go to? FedEx, UPS? And so instead of paying, 50 cents a letter, you're now paying a couple bucks a letter to have them deliver it?
See, to me, I'd rather see them not try to compete with UPS and FedEx, but try to be wholly different, be cheaper, be more available, but not have, the priorities, not have, all the other things.
U.S. Post Office isn't privatized; it's public. You can't. I mean, yeah, if it costs a couple bucks to send a letter, then it costs that much, and that's how much it should be.
Mhm.
That's kind of how I see it.
Well, they don't run it like a business, unfortunately. So.
Yeah, I mean the problem is it doesn't get any government money, even though it's for the government. It's weird. We have to have a postal service, but they don't get any money from the government.
Are you sure about that?
Absolutely.
You're about to get fact checked, bitch.
I've been listening to this on a lot of other podcasts this week, and they've all been complaining they don't get any money from the government. They don't get government grants.
But are they
to run the
regulated
service.
in some way? Because I was reading that somebody somewhere was complaining that one of the biggest problems is that they have to pay out like money into pension funds for employees.
Yes,
they don't.
That is. So the pension funds for the postal service workers was all set up prepaid. So they dumped a lot of money into these prepaid retirement funds or whatever, and now they've got a ton of money tied up in these pensions, and they can't actually afford to operate anymore. That's one of the biggest problems. That's why they can't make any money. And John, I think that's a good idea. I think if they did strip out a lot of their extra stuff, but then if they did that, how are they going to make money?
Nobody sends letters anymore.
Yeah,
Right.
that's true.
I get tons of frickin' junk.
Wow. Junk mail.
They have to be making so much money on junk mail. So much.
But
what
then
keeps
they're
them alive.
losing so much money on things
Yeah.
like Netflix.
MasterCard and Visa should be getting taxed out the ass for the amount they use.
Yeah, maybe
Is
there
it-
should be an advertisement tax.
They should be
Any
they should be twice
advertised-
as much.
Anything advertisement based should be, maybe they should upcharge that and tax that.
Does anybody know whether it's permissible for me to take the junk mail that I get if they have prepaid return envelopes and send back the junk mail that they send me? And those
No, it is not illegal. You can do that.
good.
The company might not be happy with you.
I don't give a shit. I don't want their stuff.
You're like, send it back if you want. I guess.
That's how we're gonna fund the post office. Everybody.
What happens when I take their junk mail and put lead bricks in the... Yeah, ship this back. At what point is it mail fraud?
Once you start opening somebody else's mail and doing that.
If it all comes to Matt's house, though, so you can do Anthony's.
True. Anthony, your junk mail is going to disappear.
By the way, the U.S. Postal Service does get some taxpayer money. Voting, for anything related to voting and overseas government stuff is all paid with taxpayer money.
Well, that makes sense.
Right. Which makes sense, but I mean the thing is I don't want to see the Postal Service go away. They do offer you the ability to ship a letter anywhere in the US for 50 cents. Unless you are mailing or
Bricks.
sending an email. I guess. I don't know. I still use them. I send stuff through the mail.
I
all the
send
time.
almost everything FedEx and UPS.
I send most of my stuff USPS.
This is like how the government works. If U.S. Postal Service still ran on taxpayer funds, and let's say no one used the Postal Service anymore because they've got email, which is cheap and fast and free, but we've got all these government workers, that's what the government would do. They would basically say, okay, we're going to tax you when you use an email so that we can keep these people over here employed.
It would happen.
These
It
people
would
are going to
happen.
route the emails through a switchboard.
They're gonna push the packets.
The invisible packets that are flying through the air. Well, I don't know. I think that probably covers most of the stuff from this week. You guys got anything else you really want to talk about?
Why didn't we invite Jerry back?
Because we had
I
John.
can't even say it!
Because we had John back.
Do you really want to know
And
why Jerry
Lucas.
isn't here?
And
He'll
Pat.
watch this later. It's okay. He knows I'm hating on him.
I told him we weren't inviting him back anyway.
Did he? He didn't care, did he?
He said what? He was like, "Why not? I wanted to." be
Oh
in
wow!
there." I'm like, "Well, because
Like,
you
hey,
did jack
you
shit."
can watch it.
You wanted to join us?
Tell him he was a special guest, and he wouldn't be very special if he came back every week.
John with the sweet talking. Is that for the last items on your list that we're not going to talk about?
I am an insurance agent. I do have to know how to sweet talk it.
Did you get my email? I included you on that forward.
Oh yeah, let's talk business.
Yeah.
Let's talk insurance.
Business. Did you get those DACO reports done?
John is a savvy businessman.
Does everybody here go through you for their insurance?
I'm sorry.
I think everybody does.
Except me.
No, I don't. I don't.
Oh,
I
man.
don't.
What's wrong with you guys? John's good. Get him the.
Yeah, we got free tickets.
Yeah, John helps me out.
Yeah, Blaine. Yeah,
Well,
Yeah, what's
too
up,
bad.
Blaine?
John's too expensive. Tell him to lower his prices.
Yeah, exactly.
I wasn't that far off. Was I Kansas tickets far off, Blaine?
Oh, a little bit more for Kansas.
It doesn't matter. I wouldn't be able to come anyway. It's a Monday night game. So.
Yeah,
So?
I know.
Vacation day.
vacation. You've got vacation now. Take a vacation day.
I'm going to the Texas Tech game anyway. So
Wait, you have
doesn't
vacation
matter.
now?
I do.
What?
Yeah, I've got 2
Since
weeks
the first.
Since when?
since the first.
Ah.
Remember
Yeah, dude.
his... Wow, Matt just doesn't care.
No, I don't remember.
Which is
Wait.
why...
Blaine, I thought
Yeah.
you said she bought them for your birthday.
She bought the Texas Tech tickets for our anniversary.
Look how much Pat doesn't care. It's your birthday, Blaine. That's what she bought him for.
No, I got Texas.
Football.
The funny thing is, I got Texas Tech tickets also for my birthday, but those were the football tickets.
Oh, yeah.
I got Texas Tech basketball tickets.
This one isn't a surprise. We're not going to be there as far as I know.
I probably just wasn't invited
Yeah,
back.
unless I was left out.
I did not get included again.
On the other hand, we also should win this game. So
Wow.
Yeah.
If it's any consolation, Pat, I forgot today was my dad's birthday, so, you know.
Hey, dude, I did that once when I was at Purdue. Me and my buddy John, we drove down to IU one weekend just decided to go do that. And my phone died or something, and I was pretty much drunk the whole weekend. That's my dad's birthday.
I did call him, but my sister had to
Never
remind
been
me.
quite the same, has it? As that fateful night.
One
has
winter.
been shunned.
that one late night.
I'm pretty sure it wasn't me, but who was it? Somebody in our family forgot somebody else's birthday 2 years in a row.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, that was a record.
Yeah, I suppose. Well, unless anybody has anything else, we can probably go ahead and shut this down.
Do it.
Shut it down.
Any wise words before we all go?
No.
Snakes
have
on an
it.
asteroid.
Snakes on an asteroid. Who are you gonna call? Have a
Not
good night.
Ghostbusters.